Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today we've got another Pictures Worth 1,000 Words for you. In fact, today's is some more historic footage. It seems to be like VHS style camcorder footage that was taken on the ship. We believe it is taken right around the end of the ship's active career. There is one section of this footage, none of what we're going to show you today, because it is about an hour's worth of footage total, and we've broken out a couple of minutes of it. But there's one section of the footage that is time-stamped April 19th, 1990. So it all seems to be the same person and the same style of footage, probably the same camera. So it's probably all taken during that same series of training cruises in 1990. We don't know that for sure. Could be a slightly longer period of time than that, but we're pretty sure it's right then around the end of the ship's career. And during this time is when the ship does her final gunfire of the 16-inch guns. And some of this footage could well be that. This footage is what we would consider found in collection. We've talked before about found on board versus found in collection. This is some footage that was taken off of the presumably VHS that was filmed on and put onto a DVD. And we had the DVD in a locker full of other DVDs and recently found it or rediscovered it. And it's really the first time that Libby or I have watched it. We've been here for 7 or 8 years now. So presumably one of our predecessors knew more about this footage and received it from somewhere. But that information, we've not found where it's written down to be transmitted to us. It was just a loose DVD in a cabinet full of other DVDs. And we were looking for something completely different when we found this footage, but it's fantastic footage, albeit you can tell that it's 80s or 90s era VHS. You'll see what I mean here in a second. So starting the footage, we start off right here with turrets 1 and 2 trained off the starboard side of the ship, right about 90 degrees, good broadside. Now notice that the camera has like a box around it that's kind of framing the picture. We originally thought we were looking through a porthole, but it now looks like maybe there's some sort of lens cover on. I don't know if it's shading it from the sunlight. It looks like a pretty directly lit day, or maybe it's protecting the camera from the gun blast. You can see that this gentleman is either pointing at someone else or he himself has a second camera around his neck, and every now and again you can see that on the left-hand side of the footage. Here we are looking out to sea. So I believe they're firing the 5-inch guns now. You can see that yellow smoke, which is pretty standard for the smokeless kind of powder. It's not smokeless, it smokes less. But yeah, here you can see the 5-inch shell shooting. So earlier I think they were trying to look at where they are shooting. Notice that Mount 55 at the stern seems to be firing much quicker than Mount 51 or Mount 53 in front of us. We are firing at a low angle, which means that you can have the guns fire much faster than when they're at the higher angle. Here we've got some footage of some Marines blocking some folks, looking at the phalanx. We believe this is the forward starboard phalanx. The Marine is holding an M14, which is interesting because our Marines are largely issued M16A1s. Here we've got another Marine. You can see those nice cat-eye reflective panels on the helmet bands. Very classic of the Reagan-era military, wearing that beautiful God's Plaid M81 camo. And there you can see the phalanx actually firing. It slews up and fires, and I believe this is the only footage we've ever seen of our phalanx actually firing. You can see that it's got 4 bomb or missile icons on the side of it. Our existing phalanxes do not have that. Here you can see there's a ton of people, some of them older looking, all over the superstructure. There you can see the phalanx again. So we're not sure if this is like a firing demonstration for a Tiger cruise, maybe, or since it is potentially the last time the 16-inch guns are firing. Oh, there's the phalanx firing. This is not the phalanx, this is small arms around the ship. So looking up here, you can see the 50 caliber gun crew, and there's a guy aft of the 50 cal who's got, looks like an M16 shouldered, and there's some guys past it. So all the Marines are out on deck just blasting away. He's looking down here now. You can see the muzzle of an M60, which is on the O3 bridge. You can see that that is firing as well. So the Marines just have all their weapons out. Here you have that group on the bow again firing, and they're all firing at, you can sort of see like these flare things coming down. I'm used to them shooting at killer tomatoes. I'm not quite sure what these pyrotechnic things are that are, they seem to be on parachutes or something coming down that they're shooting at. So there's some great footage of an M60. Can't really tell if it's railing mounted or if they just have it braced up against the rail. Now the Marines have all moved forward to the bow, those ones that were manning that 50 cal, so they're forward of the danger line because we've got the 16-inch guns here turning and elevating to fire. Now it looks like all 6 barrels are at the proper elevation. We've cut the sound out of this video, but as they're getting ready to fire, you hear the alarm go off 3 times, and then the guns will actually fire. So hopefully you guys were able to catch that. Obviously when the guns fired, it kind of scrambled the recorder's ability to record, so it goes fuzzy there for a second as the guns go off. But just as the guns are firing, you see very clearly a hat coming from the left-hand side of the frame and being blown overboard. And you can see the like clipped strap on the back of it and the sun silhouetting through that.
That was a broadside, turret 1 and 2, all shot together. So he lost a ball cap too.
You lost your hat?
Hope it doesn't blow away.
I told you to knock your hat right off, didn't you?
You could hear after the shoot some guys talking about, oh, you lost your hat? I warned you about taking that off. So that is absolutely hilarious. It shows you the massive shock of these guns going off that just blows guys' hats off of their heads and overboard. Getting that yellowish cordite smoke again from gunfire. Unfortunately, he's looking at the distance, trying to see where the shells landed, so we don't, there's a white puff. That's actually the compressed air blowing out the muzzles, but he doesn't look back at the gun to see it happen. You just sort of see it drift past in the air. So you can see that some of the muzzles have depressed back down to the loading angle. Looking up to make sure none of the Marines blew overboard. They probably have their chin straps on. Looks like only 3 of the 6 muzzles have depressed, so they might not have fired all of them. Oh, here in this footage, you can tell this is really late in the ship's career. We're looking at the saluting gun platform, and you can see that the base is there for the 25mm Mark 38 Bushmaster. So the chain gun base has been installed by this point, which is like right at the end of the ship's career. So even though we're looking at the bow and there isn't really any of that good evidence, this little bit right here tells us just how close to the end of the ship's career we are. Like, they installed the base, they retrained the Marines on using that, but they never actually installed the weapon system on it because it happened so late in the ship's career. Elsewhere in the footage, we get some other visual indicators looking at the ship that it's later in the ship's career, including the radome for the RPV drone, which is another thing that's added near the end of the ship. But that right there, just from seeing this small section of the bow filmed from probably the O5 level platform above the bridge, you still get an idea of when this video is taken. Now you can see that all the barrels, they elevated back up and now they're depressing again. There are some weird cuts in this, so I can't entirely tell what's going on. Phalanx barrel is rotating again, but we don't see smoke coming out, so I'm not sure if it's firing, and you've got a sailor standing right there. There is something on the horizon here. Oh, we might be seeing VT shells as they're coming down towards the ocean. They will detonate above it when their radar in the nose senses they're close. That's great for like shore bombardment, things like that. Detonating before it hits the surface means that it will throw spray out, and assuming we're doing shore bombardment, there's guys in foxholes. This isn't hitting the ground and then exploding and throwing up dirt. It's exploding over and peppering those foxholes. That seems to be what we're seeing, because we're seeing like these flak bursts all at a uniform level right above sea level. So this could actually be footage from our own 5-inch guns that we saw a few minutes ago in the video firing, and this is them landing, or it could be another shoot entirely. For all I know, there's other ships operating with us that are firing, and this isn't even New Jersey. Although that smoke is close to New Jersey. Oh, here we've got a bunch of fire hoses played out around the deck. No idea why. Deck doesn't look all that wet. Doesn't seem like they were doing a freshwater washdown or that they were manned. It could be a procedure that's put into place. This would, in theory, be after the accident on the Battleship Iowa, which happens a year ago in April of 1989. There are several moratoriums on firing the 16-inch guns that happened during that time period. And I've heard it said that Battleship New Jersey goes out specifically in April of '89 because the first moratorium lasted a year. They wanted to do a gun firing before another moratorium goes into place. And that April of '90 gun firing is the last time that New Jersey fires their 16-inch guns. Another moratorium is put in place, and then it is lifted in time for the Gulf War for Wisconsin and Missouri to actually fire in combat. So it might be part of the safety procedures put in around that investigation that you will have fire hoses played out or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Or they could just be rolling them out to clean them, do work, another drill. Who knows? Unfortunately, nothing else in this hour of footage, which we believe, most of the footage actually takes place in fire room number 2. So we believe that it is a boiler technician who's filming this. So they don't actually get all that much footage out on the main decks and seeing stuff like that happening. We believe that because they're firing the 16-inch guns, and it's a fairly unique thing, it's probably the first time these guns have been fired in a year, that and it ends up potentially being the last time the guns are fired if this footage is really one we think it is, that they called everybody not on watch up to be able to watch the guns, and that could be why we see so many people crowded around the superstructure in this footage. Which guns were you most interested in seeing fired? It was great seeing what is probably the last time our 16-inch guns are fired. It's incredible that we may now have footage of that. But the thing that actually excited me from that was seeing the M60s mounted on the rails and fired. I've never seen the M60s fired on board the ship, and until very, very recently, we didn't even know that we would have had them. Well, we thought that the Marines had them, but like had them as railing-mounted devices that would have been fired from the ship and not just used when the Marines are off of the ship. So like, that was really cool for us to see, and continues to advance our scholarship on the ship and the various weapons that she carries. Because at the end of the day, while there are a tremendous number of cool systems on this ship, people get interested in battleships to see the guns. So now we know we had even more guns than we ever thought. But let us know in the comment section down below which gun footage you think is coolest to see. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support, and there's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the museum. Your support helps us do the YouTube channel. It buys us the time to do more research, go through more of the stuff that we've got lying around the ship that we didn't even know we had, like this footage, so that we can then film it and put it out there for more people to see. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about the museum and their channel. Thanks for watching.